freaking awesome. Anyways, everybody, I am really, really excited to welcome our next guest of the day. They are an incredibly exciting and dynamic indie pop electronic group. They're set to play Bottle Rock, Summerfest, and Riot Fest this year coming up, and their new EP, Every Window is a Mirror, is out everywhere right now. Please, everybody, welcome to the stream, Joey, Daniel, and Paul, Joywave. Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi.
How y'all doing?
Real good. How are you?
I'm doing real good. I see you got the Metallica shirt on. We were just talking about Metallica earlier on the stream.
Now that's amazing because I actually hate Metallica with a passion. But at one point in time, my aunt gave me a gift card to JCPenney for Christmas. And this shirt was $11 on clearance. And I thought it would really irritate Lars knowing that I had purchased a Metallica t-shirt from JCPenney for $11 with a gift card from my aunt. And I wear it proudly just so I can tell people that story.
That's an incredible story, honestly. And I love that you directed all of your rage into a purchase at JCPenney for Metallica.
Yeah, I'm a very rage purchase focused person at the mall.
I love a rage purchase. And well, how you guys been doing lately? It's great to see all of you together in one room.
Yeah, this is a newer thing.
Yeah, right.
We're still feeling that out. Yeah, that doesn't feel good. No.
But I mean, it looks great to me from over here, and I wanted to kind of dive in and talk to you guys about the new EP that just came out June 25th, I believe. So like about almost a month ago now. And I feel like just as a band, like as a group of guys that have just done so much musically in your history as a band, what were you really wanting to convey with this specific EP, and what were the themes that you were working with on it?
Sure. So the new EP is called Every Window is a Mirror. The last record we did was called Possession. It came out March 13th, 2020, and I'm not sure if you remember, but that was a bad day. Terrible time to release a record.
Heard about that month. Weird. Crazy.
Yeah. So we had worked really hard on that record for like a year and a half. We kind of just took the time to like say, okay, you know, we've done 3 records, and we kind of looked at the most recent one, Possession, as kind of like a perfection of the first 2, and like really nailing the joywave sound. And with this new stuff, like the next full-length record that's coming early next year is called Cleanse. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the idea of it, is just saying like, all right, we've done all these things. We've kind of like perfected what we were trying to do with the first few records, and it's doing something different.
Yeah. And that's really cool. I feel like you guys have, since your first album came out in like maybe 2012, I feel like it's always been kind of something different. Whether it's been like changing up the genre a bit, changing up the synths, changing up things like that too. But how did you write music on this EP and the upcoming album, Cleanse, comparatively to the rest of your work? Did you have kind of a different approach when you sat down to write?
Yeah, so the earliest stuff, like Coda Vista, that was our EP that came out in 2012, is kind of like me post-college in my parents' basement being like, wonder if this is going to work. And it's, you know, a bunch of demos and then all of us playing together live. And kind of as the band goes, it becomes more of us like in the studio and working together. Like Possession, we were all there working on a record for, that was the first one we had done like that. And then this one was kind of, because of COVID, back to how it was before. Like it was me alone in the basement down here. Like Paul was able to come over for a couple days and play drums, and Joey and I communicated on Zoom, and he was tracking guitars remotely and sending me the parts. So it was weirdly, I mean, it does sound like our most like band live organic record, which is funny because it's probably the least, you know, like that.
I remember there were a couple occasions when I would just set my iPhone up in, you know, my practice space at home, and I would just like send a 20-second clip to Dan and be like, I think this might work better, you know, or like that. But it's so funny because, yeah, like you said, we weren't in the same room together, so it was different.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though that you were able to, even though like being so far away and like being in different places, being able to kind of connect and make it happen, I guess, in one of the more like organic sounding ways is really cool. And kind of talking about your writing process also through historically, has it been similar to that in terms of, does everybody have their kind of own lane that like, okay, like Paul's going to come up with the drum part and somebody's going to write the lyrics, and does everybody have their own part, or does it fluctuate continuously throughout?
We're generally working off of demos that I do, and then so like I'm the primary songwriter, but then when we're listening to a demo, like I'm not a drummer, so I'll be like, Paul, this drum part that I programmed takes 4 arms to play, although it's bad, do a better version of that. Or the guitar part, like Joey would be like, what if we do this? And I think it's about working with the demo, but then people using their like talent. And like I'm the worst player in the band, so it's everyone taking things and being like, I think you meant this, and then I'm like, yeah, that's better. And then everyone kind of like elevating parts.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, luckily, like Paul is probably part octopus, so he can grow 4 more arms and play whatever he needed to play. It sounds like, so that's great. That's great to know.
Wish.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
Rock, dude.
That'd be pretty sick. Suction on the sticks, they never fly away.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe metal Dr. Octopus arms,
That's like a Mortal Kombat character right there. Man, and from here, I know Cleanse is coming pretty soon, but where did you really want to take your style next? Because again, like as I said at the top, I feel like you guys have done so much with your style and like cultivating it and changing it and like tweaking it every album. And where do you really want to go with it next? And what do you really see for yourselves as a band?
I don't think that it was really like a conscious decision. Like it was kind of, usually we're working out of this pool of demos, right? And it like they accumulate over time, and then every year and a half or whatever, the tour cycle allows for a gap where it's like, okay, well, it's time to make a record. And we're like, okay, well, here's like the 20 or 30 things that we're working from. But this time, like we had just emptied the vault, right? Like Possession comes out in March 2020, and those songs are out, and then suddenly like the record cycle is over on day one.
Yeah.
And our whole tour's canceled. There's nothing else happening. So it was like, okay, I guess I was just writing songs this time to keep my sanity. Like we were on tour in Europe when COVID broke out. We flew back to the US on, I think, March 1st or March 2nd. And I remember the guy who used to be president, whatever his name was saying that on the we're checking at the border for temperatures and everything, and we come in, and like the border guard asks us one question. He says, "Have you been to Wuhan?" This is on like March 2nd. I'm like, no, and waiting for a follow-up question, and there is none. And I'm like, don't you have any other questions for me? He's like, no, come on in. And like half of Italy is like, infected at this point.
Wow.
So we got back and we were very concerned. And I think I sat and watched CNN for like 3 weeks, just watching the case counts rise and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna lose my mind if I don't do something else. And so it was kind of writing to, fill the time and not obsess about things that were happening.
Yeah. And how was that? I don't know. How did you feel at that time, apart from like COVID situation, but how did you feel at that time when you had planned to go on tour and planned to do this whole thing for Possession, of course. And how did it feel to get that time completely repurposed to like writing, and it kind of just forced you to like sit down and use that time that you thought that you were going to be doing something and just do something completely different?
I have to be honest, I did not hate it. Like my favorite part of being a band is writing and recording, and we make the records ourselves. So for a minute I felt defeated. Like, how can you not take it personally for like 5 hours of like, of course COVID-19 would arrive on Friday the 13th, the day of my release, and but you get over that pretty quickly, and you realize that like, wow, a lot of people have way worse stuff happening than the Joywave record has run into a once in 100-year pandemic.
Yeah, I gotta say, at first, I loved it. The first couple of months, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I thought we all deserved a break, and it was a lot of fun to be home. But then very quickly, I missed it immensely.
Yeah, and something else that struck me definitely. I mean, we were talking during the sound check, and Daniel, I believe you said that you guys, when writing music, you don't really listen to other music or anything. You just kind of think about what you're working on, which I just find like super fascinating. I kind of want to dive into that a bit about how you do that and what really like that side of the coin is like, because I feel like a lot of musicians either are like, okay, I know exactly what I'm working toward because I've listened to it in other artists. But you, on the other hand, it sounds like you have more of an approach of, okay, I know exactly what I want because I've envisioned it and I'm gonna go do it.
Yeah, I think for us, certainly for me, when I'm writing, I'm trying to like pull something out of myself. Like, so blasting yourself with things that other people created, like, just kind of clouds the path, I think. Whereas, like, I'm not usually like, oh, I want to make something that sounds like this other artist or like this other band. I'm trying to say, like, on our song After Coffee, like, I'm just thinking about like this moment of slowing down and having a routine for the first time in a long time, and like how exciting that is. And I'm trying to convey that feeling. Like all of us were in symphonic band growing up, and I have to say that almost none of that applies or is apparent in our music. Joey played saxophone. Joey played saxophone. Sorry, we're reversed on Zoom. Paul played percussion. I played flute and then bassoon. But the thing that I took away from that was that like it doesn't always have to be the words doing the storytelling. Like I always loved that in like Peter and the Wolf, the bassoon is the grandpa, right? And you're just supposed to like, maybe someone clues you into that, maybe they don't, but like that's doing part of the storytelling. And in our music,
Every time he walks, right? Like bodum, bodum.
yeah. So the production is doing part of the storytelling. The sonic palette is doing part of the storytelling. Certainly, the lyrics are doing part of the storytelling, but they're all working together to convey one feeling.
Wow. And from doing symphonic band too, I find that pretty interesting, especially from like, I don't know, from Joey going from like a saxophone to a guitar. Like, talk to me about that transition. And were you always kind of all of you all like multi-instrumentalists, or did you kind of eventually silo yourself and be like, all right, no, I'm going to do guitar, I'm going to do drums?
I mean, I always wanted to play guitar, so there was like a little bit of there was a little bit of a bridge. But, I mean, I was able to read saxophone music obviously in school, but I just kind of taught myself guitar. I still can't read guitar music. I just do everything by ear. So
yeah, you got good ears, Joey. And considering that you guys don't work off of other music or like consider other music in the music you make, are there other like forms of art that you really gravitate towards or that inspire you, whether it's kind of books or shows or any mediums of film or art or anything like that?
I can think of there's one song on the new record where I was watching this TV show called Deutschland 83 during the pandemic, where like I saw this one scene and I was just like, man, I would love to like make what I think should be playing in this club like in the moment. So there are occasionally things like that, but not generally. Like I always think of like if I was the thing is like I'm terrible at most things. I'm like okay at music. I love creating things. I have a creative brain, so like that is the medium that I use. But like if I was good at painting, like I might not be a musician, right? I might be like, well, I want to capture this moment of home and routine, and like here's the painting about it, or like I'm a chef and here's the like gourmet cheeseburger about it, or whatever. It's just like matching creativity to like the skills that you have, I guess.
Yeah. And do you guys remember playing your first songs together at any point, either whether that was kind of working them out together or rehearsing them for a live performance, or do you just remember all being together playing some of your first songs?
Yeah, I do, but not joywave.
Yeah. We've been in bands together for so long at this point. I mean, I remember
talent show. That was the first time we all played together was the talent show.
It was a high school talent show, and we did a cover of
That thing
you do, and I think we played like Beat It, right? And some of our friends did a fake knife fight on stage.
First place.
First place.
Hey, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh shit, that's you guys from the first place at the Rochester Talent Show? Oh
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Sorry, we should have led with that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We started a band after because the talent show went so well.
I figured. Okay, that makes sense. That tracks.
Yeah.
And kind of going from there too. Because I know you guys did play in a lot of different bands before forming Joywave, but what was your mission in mind when you did form Joywave, and kind of what did you have in mind for the band when you first were like, let's do this and let's just double down on this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we had done like a couple local bands. We had like this like joke band, and then we had like a more serious band. But basically with Joywave, it was like the one band we were never successful outside of Rochester, but like we got to go on tour like one time, playing like empty clubs, and like record labels would like poke around and check in on us, that kind of stuff. And with Joywave, it was like I felt like genuinely we had failed and missed out, like that, like our chances of being successful at music were over. So the idea was, since we have failed, let's just do whatever we want. And basically the mission of Joywave will always be to make whatever music we want to make without any rules whenever we want to do it. And that way, like, since we have failed, we will at least be happy, right? Because like before, in previous bands, we would be like, you know, we would take into account like, well, this is working for this other band, or this is working
wrong,
for
yeah.
right, yeah. Why don't it work for this band? Why doesn't it work for us? And so we just got rid of all of that. And in getting rid of all of that, people started to show up and appreciate it. And we ended up just like making something that was authentically us, that it worked when we stopped worrying, I guess.
Yeah. And how did you go about finding that sound, that just distinct sound for all of you? Because I think there is a specific kind of like indie plus electronic plus pop sound that I feel like really characterizes the band, and that's pretty unique to you guys. So how did you really just hammer that down and figure that out?
I spent like a year in my parents' basement after one of our local bands had like failed, where I just kind of like wrote every single day. And I quit my job. I worked at Staples for like 6 years.
Wow.
Quit my job. I just like stayed in my childhood bedroom in my twin bed, and worked every day to like get better at production and music. And I don't know that, like, the thing that we've arrived at is just like, I think that the things that I want to make, that I pull out of myself, matched with my like whatever my skill set is just like kind of like, that's Joywave. And like, we're not gonna be like a jazz fusion band or anything, because like I can't do that. You know what I mean?
That was my next idea.
Like it's literally not like well, since we're so good and all things are possible, let's do this. It's just like, that's what comes out. So I think that's probably the thing that keeps Joywave like cohesive, is that like, even in us doing whatever we want to do whenever we want to do it and sticking to that mission, like, it's still just like, we're just doing us. Like Joey taught himself guitar. I taught myself guitar. Like,
Right.
we're not out here like, like, we get better, right? Like, we've been on tour for a bunch of years now. We're certainly better at it than we used to be. We're not like trying to be like, well, this is the idea of like classic good, or like, this is where we're trying to get to, like,
Right.
it's just using music to express, and like, that's the thing, matching with the creativity.
As long as we're having fun.
That's what it's all about, guys.
Just here to have a good time.
And soon we're going to open our restaurant and serve gourmet joywave cheeseburgers. All this music stuff will be out the window. It'll be beautiful. And check out my paintings.
Yes, this conversation will be dated as of next week. And I think one of the first things that caught me, at least, or one of the first times that I heard of joywave was the Big Data song, Dangerous. I think that's kind of my first introduction to the band, as I assume like a lot of people's first introduction. What was it like back in the day working on that track? And also, did you kind of expect the, I don't know, how big it got and how it blew up and everything back in the day?
Oh, very, very big. 1.5 times platinum big.
Yeah, huge.
Very exciting.
Yes.
But no, like, I had no idea. I mean, that was so like Joywave was kind of just, I guess we'd been a band for 2 or 3 years, and I was kind of, like I said, like resigned to failure, but like at the same time happy, right? Because like I was doing what I wanted to do, and I was not saying like, well, to be successful we have to do this. It was just like, we're just gonna make what we want and hang out.
Yeah.
So Big Data was this collaboration with my friend Alan, we're all Rochester, New York boys. My friend Alan lived in Brooklyn, and we kind of met through my manager, and he had done like a mix for us or something. We got along really well, and he was like, hey, what if we do this side project? And I was like, I don't have anything else to do on earth. Sure, let's do it. So we did like 4 songs as an EP together. Put out the first one. Dangerous was the second one. And then it was crazy. Like our song Tongues started to happen at the same exact time. So all of these record labels started calling about Dangerous, and other ones were calling about Tongues, and some were calling about Big Data, and some were calling about Joywave. And I was like, no one has ever liked anything that I've done. What's happening? And, you know, I kind of, we have been together, the 3 of us playing together for so long, where it was just like, there wasn't any question in my mind about what I wanted to do. So we ended up signing Joywave to one label, and I bowed out of Big Data, and Big Data became just the other guy, Alan, and it was retroactively entitled Joywave. No, Dangerous by Big Data featuring Joywave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Well, which is pretty cool, because I did track a lot of those early Big Data releases, and personally, like I played them a bunch. I like love those songs, and especially I think Dangerous is an incredible track. But catapulting off of that, I feel like you guys had a lot of your first big, huge like live shows around that time in like 2014, 2015, performances on Late Night, and I know you guys toured with the Killers for a bit. What was it like, kind of getting in that mode of like, I feel like 2012, 2013, kind of starting out, like Joywave is picking up steam, and then you're all of a sudden, I feel like you're just on these huge tours now. What was that transition like for you guys?
The Killers were definitely one of our favorite bands, and I mean that was a band for me where like growing up I was really into like Jimmy Eat World and Brand New and Saves the Day and stuff like that. And I remember I think I saw like the Killers on like Fuse or something, and like the Somebody Told Me video, and I was like, oh my god, what is this? Like synthesizers are really cool. And like my parents were like not big into music, and I didn't have any like older siblings to show me things that happened before I arrived at like music is cool. So like Seal to me was like the beginning of music. Nothing before that existed. So like, a band like that showed me like, oh wow, like New Order exists and this is amazing, and like all this new wave stuff is so cool, and I didn't know about it. So going out and getting to play with them was amazing, and those were pretty early shows.
Dream come true.
Yeah, I mean, we got a call like a week before where it was just like, I think they hadn't bothered booking an opening act because it didn't matter, and they were like arena shows. And our one of the people who was like co-managing us at the time knew them from one of their early tours and was close enough to say like, did you guys mean to book an opener and you just didn't do it? And they were like, yeah, yep, that's what's happening. And he was like, okay, well, I've got an opener for you. And they were like, okay, that sounds good. And that was literally it. So we took a break from recording How Do You Feel Now to go do that. And a couple of the guys were still working jobs and lost their jobs because we weren't able to, give employers enough notification time. And it was like, but this is the Killers. And they were like, sure. And I know that's what's playing in the store right now, but you need to be here working the cash register on Monday. And people got fired, but I think it was worth it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. It sounds like it was worth it. At least, I know you guys. So
Yeah, there we go.
Hell yeah. So around that time too, when you started doing those tours, and I know you guys toured still through like 2015, 2016, like a bunch. How did you find time to make new music in that time frame of touring and being consistently on the road?
I kind of changed how I was working, I guess. There's the thing about how you like have your whole life to make your debut record. So the songs on How Do You Feel Now was like, all right, here's the best 12 songs I've written between 2010 and end of 2013 or 2014, right? And it's like there's like 75 demos or something, and they're all like pretty well done. And that's what we were working with, because I mean those were songs where I was like had a ton of time. No one was asking me about anything. I was working in Pro Tools and everything and kind of finishing things. And then when we were gone, all of a sudden, I changed how I was writing, where I was basically sketching things on an iPad in GarageBand. And I basically divorced the production process from the songwriting process, which was really interesting. I think that's one of the main differences between the first record, How Do You Feel Now, and the second record, Content. And I think the result is that Content, if you're listening to it, is a lot more consistent, because the production is all happening in one like 3 or 4 month window, even though the songs are, maybe written across a year and a half on the road, and me humming into like an ear pod into my iPad or something in a van at the time.
But the actual creation we had for Content, we had the barn.
Right. So we did have, at the end of the first record cycle, like 4 months to we rented this barn in upstate New York, and
so awesome.
And recorded there, and it was really fun. But now we do have to set aside time to record, because that was a little too much. But I think it's the thing where, like, when nobody has ever heard of you, you can go from tour to tour to tour to tour, right, opening constantly, and it doesn't matter. And now that some people like you do know who we are, we can go do a tour for 6 weeks of the US, but then it's like, okay, then we have time to record before you don't just do the right loop over and over and over.
Right. And I feel like at least we've been seeing consistent releases from you guys all the time. I mean, even you talk about things like Swish. I feel like things have been coming out. I feel like you guys have pockets of like, oh, we're going to release something in 2015, release something in 2016 and 2017, and then we're going to stop for like a year or two. And then how is that possible generally? I just, because I feel like you guys release so much music in such a short period of time. And I was always just so impressed. And as a fan, I was just like, this is great for me, but Is
it too much?
No, it's a fantastic amount. I'm just like baffled at like, how are these guys able to do this?
I told you, we all lost our jobs from the Killers.
Yeah, we don't have to go to work anymore.
The Killers took your jobs.
The Killers took our jobs.
Yeah. That's right. And Paul's 8 arms. That's how it's gotten done, I guess.
Yeah, it's not. I'm a pretty consistent songwriter. I mean, I've kind of taken a break since finishing Cleanse, just because that was so much in a row, where it was like we did Possession and slogged away at it for a really long time, and then it was like it came out, and then I did do a side project with my friend Jason, who's in a band called Sir Sly called Best Friends, where we did like a 4-song EP together last year while people were quarantining. And I also did that because I didn't want to make like a quarantine joywave record. I was just like, if we can do this right now and put it out right now, that's cool. But like everyone's record that comes out for the next 2 years is gonna like rhyme like coronavirus with whatever rhymes with coronavirus. And I was like, let's just not do that.
Yeah.
So going immediately into the writing process for the next record after Possession was awesome, because it was like it was like so fresh, right? It wasn't like, what batch of demos are we pulling from? It was like I had about 10 to 12 songs, and then we recorded those 10 songs, and then that's the record.
Wow. Yeah, it's just crazy to me. I feel like the amount of like releases in such short amount of time, for at least like myself, and I feel like your fans, people in the chat right now are saying like love Swish. So like things like that are just like coming up constantly. I feel like there's just so much, no pun intended, content that it's really, really exciting.
Why can't I see the chat? What are people saying? What are they saying about it?
They're saying only good things. Somebody's saying, who's that guy in the middle? Don't. They're saying hi, Dan. So yeah, and as for Possession into this new album, what was the work cadence like for that? That you have this new album coming up pretty soon, and you had kind of all of this last year, as we talked about, to kind of sit down and write some more stuff. How did Cleanse come together?
I did kind of question, like, as I started working on the lyrics, it was hard not to like feel your mortality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In like the news cycle and everything. And I kind of thought about like, what if, not to like think really morbidly, but the question I ask myself on every song is, what if this was the last chance I had to communicate with the listener and the fans of the band? Like, what is and not that it's like the last anything, just that's where my head was at. So I kind of was like on every song asking myself, what do I want them to know about me or life or what I think about the world or anything? And that was, and all of our records are kind of at least loosely conceptual, and maybe that is, somehow a concept, but I was trying to free myself from that, to not just say like, this record is making one point from front to back, or like it's one thing. It is, and it is like a pretty consistent record, but it's kind of like, here's what Dan thinks. And it was kind of nice to free myself from that. And like Possession is this big thing where it's connected with samples from the Golden Record, which NASA sent out into space on the front of Voyager. It's about like zooming out and seeing the big picture, and in these crazy times in which we live. And it's like things got crazier since that record came out, which I didn't even think possible. Like I thought that, like, as I'm writing those lyrics in like 2018 and 2019, I'm like, things are really crazy right now. Like things are really crazy. And it's like, I was right times infinity, and I didn't want to like make that record, right? Like that's just like, go back and listen to the last one, because everything I like, just like play it louder.
Just put out a remixed version with the volume just up a little bit on every track.
The vocals are just like really pushing up against the front of the mix.
It's a new album we've submitted for Grammys. Also, chat wanted to make it known that they are also saying hello to Paul, and they're also saying hello to Joey as well. Lots of hellos from the chat to you all. That they're very excited to have you here, as am I. I think we can actually move into our next segment over here. Designed this for you guys, made a couple prompts. This one's called A Dream Mixtape. Oh, wow, we got a theme song too. Look at that. Wow. So what this is going to be, basically I'm going to have a bunch of prompts for you guys. And each of them are going to be sort of like a song that you would blank to, like dance to, or a song that would be good for this certain situation. Each one's going to be a completely unique situation. And I would love answers from all three of you because on each of these prompts, we're going to take your answers and put them into a nice jumbled Spotify playlist and put it out to everybody in the chat so they can listen to it. Does that sound good?
Great.
All right. So let's boogie on here. We're going to do the first track. That's the I don't know why I said boogie. That's the first time I've said that ever. We're going to get along here. There we go. Okay. First one. A song that you think everybody should know. This could be a song that maybe not a lot of people know out there, and you think that everybody would be better off in their lives knowing about this song.
That's a great pick. And I was playing the video game Fortnite a couple of years ago, and I watched the trailer for it, and I heard this amazing song called Destruction by Joywave. And I think that everyone should know that song.
Sweet. Very cool. Very cool. We will add that to the playlist. Paul, Joey?
A song I think everyone should know.
Maybe something from Swish.
Something off a Swish would be nice.
Maybe like Y or B.
Personally,
yeah.
I think everybody should know the song Pickle by Chumbawamba.
I think everybody should know the song Pickle by Chumbawamba.
We can't play the songs right now because of like Twitch licensing.
But it'll be in the playlist.
But it'll be in the playlist.
It'll be on the playlist. Yeah, we can't play them because of like copyright problems. But like, I would hope that everybody after this just goes to stream the heck out of Joywave and also Pickle by Chumbawamba.
So I think. Do you want to tell the story about your CD player?
Oh well, Pickle wasn't even on that album.
Sure, but
years and years ago, when I was a teenager, I had a 4-door Saturn, and had one of those fancy CD players where you had to use a remote control to get it to open. I think it was called the Chameleon.
Whoa.
It did like a little, opening movement, and then you could insert the CD.
Oh, that's
okay. So everything broke, and the volume was stuck at max, which was like above 30, I think.
Oh my God.
And in the CD player was Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba. And so long story short, I know like verbatim the entire discography of the album Tub Thumping lyrically.
Because it's the only thing that you could play in your car, which was at complete max volume.
Yeah, for like 2 months until somebody finally ripped out the whole thing and just threw it out.
But he couldn't he couldn't skip tracks.
Yeah, I would have to apologize to people.
He couldn't adjust the volume, so you get in his car and it's just blasting, and it's only Tub Thumper or Tub Thumping.
That's the like third song or second song.
It's only that one once in a while, right? He knows
the whole album worth of songs on that album.
He knows the deep cuts. So there was a time where one of the people who used to tour with us was like complaining that like Paul's music taste was from an earlier time, and like there's all this great new music you should check out. And he had it with this person, and he said, "You know what? I think you're right." He said, "I wonder what Chumbawamba has been up to," and played all the new Chumbawamba, which is how we arrived at Pickle, which is an amazing song.
It's gorgeous.
That I think, and Paul thinks, and I'm sure Joey thinks, everyone should know.
Wow. That is an incredible story. It makes me think that if I played that album from Chumbawamba on kind of like a low volume, maybe like volume like 10 or something, that Paul would just find it completely unrecognizable.
No, it would be more like a Telltale Heart situation. Go insane.
Oh, God. And Joey, is there any song that you think everybody should know?
I'll go the more traditional route here, and I'll go Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears.
Oh, nice. I was just listening to that last weekend. Fantastic. Love that.
It's one of those that everyone should know.
Yep, I agree. And we can move through to the next prompt over here. Okay. A song that would play on all loudspeakers across the world if robots took over the world. I guess like when I was thinking of this one, I was thinking like big like world domination energy. Like what song like would just broadcast on every single speaker in every single home if you just had these robots that just decided to take over the world all of a sudden?
Welcome to the Machine by Pink Floyd.
Oh,
That's a good one. Ooh, that's a really good one.
something off a Swish, maybe?
Oh, I would love a song off of Swish.
Yes.
Maybe like Why?
Why by Joywave, I think.
Yes, that's a good one. That's a really, really good one.
I think probably a Kraftwerk song, but I'm not sure which one.
Pocket Calculator?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Is that the title of it?
Yeah.
Pocket Calculator. Yeah. That's a good pick.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, Kraftwerk has a lot of good, like Computer Love is they got a lot of good shit. Cool. All right, next one. After we've discussed the demise of humanity to the robots, we move on to the next. A song that defines Joywave. I'm fishing for probably a Joywave song here, but if you think another song defines Joywave better, then I'm all ears. But a song that you think defines the band wholly, like if you could pick, maybe like to phrase this differently, if you could pick one song out of your discography to show somebody, be like, this is Joywave, what song do you pick?
I mean, my gut is Destruction by Joywave, but I think I'm gonna not go that route because it's expected, and I'm gonna pick Incredible by Joywave from Swish.
Very cool. A lot of Swish shout outs, and I'm loving it today.
It has a great varied like track listing that I think just lends itself.
Definitely. Paul, Joey?
It's a tough one.
You can agree if you want to. We don't need all of them. You can totally agree if you need to.
Yeah, I guess
I'd agree with
that one. How do you pick just one?
Yeah, it's hard to pick one. Okay, cool. A song that you hear every time you cry. And I want to rephrase this as it's kind of like every time you cry in your entire lifetime from now until you die. No matter if it's a happy cry, if it's a sad cry, you just hear this song play in your head every time. So pick wisely, pick carefully.
Sarah McLachlan? I don't know.
Just imagine it going from Destruction to Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah, what's the one from the dog commercials that always are so
In the
sad?
eyes of the angel.
Yeah, that one. No,
You can't even do that. You can't even do that. This your Twitch channel.
Careful.
I know. We've been torn down.
Yeah.
We're on pirate servers right now because of that.
Yeah, you have to like loosely describe the Sarah McLachlan song. Yeah.
I have to actually use the Google Translate voice for anything that I do singing wise.
I don't think you could even say the lyrics probably without violating some copyright. You probably have to like move around the general idea of the
Yes.
song. You know the one.
Angels' eyes. It's in them.
Yeah. Yes, the heavenly bodies with the water falling from their faces.
This is gonna be such a good playlist.
I would say not to go Kraftwerk again, but Hall of Mirrors. I feel like
That's a good one.
is
That's a really good one.
yeah, that's a good crying song.
That's a good one. All right. Anybody else want to just take a stab at this one?
Yeah, that's a good one for me too.
Taking that. All right. Next one. Okay. First song you'd play after waking up from a 34-year-old coma. You're in a coma for 34 years approximately, give or take a few months, right?
This is easy.
What's the first song you want to hear?
Oh, this is so easy. Back in Black by AC/DC. And then I would like ask to be put back in the coma. I would be like, nothing has changed. Put me back under.
I'm
just, like-
back, baby.
Yeah. I hate that song, and I'm like like whenever like was it like the Iron Man song? I just picture like Tony Stark in like 2002 sunglasses, like, and the song starts playing, and then like every movie trailer, yeah. So that, and then put me back under immediately.
Incredible.
I wonder if you fall into a coma and you happen to have a song stuck in your head, do you wake up with that song still stuck in your head? Because I've had Fastball's The Way stuck in my head for like a week.
Oh, wow. That's a great song.
Could be my answer.
That's a really good song. And actually, while we're here, I would like to specifically ask whoever's compiling the playlist to not put AC/DC's Back in Black anywhere in a playlist.
The coma
from Joywave.
inducer.
Yeah, the coma inducer.
The coma inducer. Yeah, if you hear that track, you're probably in a coma currently.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have that removed. But it was a good thought.
If you get that, just have like the opposite, the negative silence of the inverse of that song playing.
Yeah. We'll just have it play backwards.
Yeah, that would
Perfect.
work. What you got, Joe?
Okay, so, and the question is this you're in a coma and then the song plays and that's what wakes you up?
So no, this is like, okay, you wake up from this 34-year-old coma, and then like the doctor comes over, and for some reason the first question they ask you is, what song do you want to hear? We're gonna play a song.
So I haven't heard music in 34 years.
And it's your pick.
Got it.
Yes.
Delete.
We are
Delete.
officially striking it from the record.
Probably I would go Mama by Genesis.
Oh, that's a good one.
Picture playing, and then like as the build goes, then I'm like ripping out all the the life support things keeping me alive and
You're
stuff.
not supposed to do that.
As like the drums come in, and then I prematurely do that and I fall back into the coma.
So lots of going back into the coma. We really love this coma.
Yeah.
Seems comfy.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
nice.
just picturing you like with like your whole body shaved and you're ripping out like the Matrix plugs.
Yeah.
Like while that plays. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We're having some people in the chat giving us some suggestions. We have Brett in the chat saying Back in Black, but the guitar is a harp and the lyrics are whispered.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's great.
That probably has been
That's
done.
great. Actually, okay. Hang on. In that Spotify playlist that is being assembled right now, I would like someone to find the worst cover of Back in Black that exists on Spotify, because I would like it to be like a local band on a Friday
Yes.
night at Chili's playing the song, and
Yes.
that
String quartet.
sure,
String
yeah, well,
quartet.
like nice, just
Yeah.
a cover,
But like a bad string quartet. Like
yeah.
Year
I found
one.
a swing version.
Yeah,
Oh.
string quartet.
we got Ian, my tech director, says we got a swing version.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
that's
Put that in.
perfect.
Put that in.
Yeah,
Great. Oh, amazing. Somebody else said the Stone Cold Steve Austin entrance theme, which I think is a great way to wake up from a coma.
Yeah, that's good.
You hear the glass break and oh, yeah. Oh, fantastic. Okay, next one over here. A song that reminds you of Rochester, reminds you of home.
Huh.
Okay, there's a song called Rockin' Rochester, and I don't know if it's on Spotify, but it's like this. It's like a surf song from the 50s or 60s, and this band was from Rochester, and I think moved to California for like 3 weeks, and then was like, screw this, and came back home. And it's like a surf, like the premise of, I can only, of course, describe it in loose terms here. The premise is that like, went out to California, the surf babes were cool, but like Rockin' Rochester is where it's at, and Lake Ontario, and it's a perfect Rochester song to me. I don't know if it's on Spotify though. It's on YouTube.
Very nice. If it is on Spotify, we will find it. If it's
I don't
not,
believe it's on Spotify.
it's not. Then we can just we can put like a little IOU placeholder in the playlist, just redirecting to that YouTube link probably.
I looked it up and I got the first result was Party Rock by the Rochester Institute of Technology Band.
Yeah, it's definitely, that makes me think of Rochester.
I'm going to add it.
I love that. We're adding it in.
Okay.
Okay, Paul, Joey.
I don't know. This is a tough one. I'm leaning towards some sort of like local commercial jingle, but that won't be on Spotify.
Oh, like 1877 Cars for Kids or something.
Yeah.
I think they have the Home Depot theme song on Spotify. Why don't
They
you put
do,
that in there?
and it
Yeah.
bangs, dude. It's a great track.
I never go to Home Depot unless I'm home.
Good idea.
That makes sense. So we'll put the Home Depot song in. This playlist is getting some wild plays today. All right, and Joey.
I'm definitely gonna go with that because whenever we're home, we're usually at the Home Depot. So
Always Home Depot.
Addicted to lumber.
That really sounds like the end of a Home Depot ad, like, because Home Depot, because whenever you're home, you're home. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, great. Well, I mean, that's the end of our mixtape. So we got that playlist all squared away. It's a good one. We're gonna be dropping it in the chat once we finish getting it together for all the fans and everything. But after that, before we go, just a few more things I wanted to chat with you guys about, because I know, first of all, you got a bunch of shows coming up. You're gonna be playing Bottle Rock, Summerfest, and Riot Fest, all in September. Hopefully, yes. I'll throw that in there. How are you guys feeling just generally about getting back doing shows?
Excited, a little overwhelmed, kind of anxious, kind of nervous, but all like in a good way. It's just been a long time. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I think I'm ready now. I really honestly did enjoy the time home. Like, making another record was like that fast was awesome. I mean, I don't feel like making another one like immediately right now, but being able to do that like was really cool. I have like always wanted to have time to produce and like co-write with other artists. And I was able to do that a bunch during the pandemic, especially because I live in Rochester and all this stuff happened on Zoom and virtually those things were happening. So I got invited instead of, is Dan around for this thing? And the answer is no, he's playing in Cincinnati that night.
Wow. Yeah, makes sense. And, considering that your first shows back are at these like massive festivals too, and like all pretty close to each other. Do you have, or have you been planning a set list, or do you have one planned out yet? And if so, what are you thinking of doing? Not to ask you the specific set list, because I like a good surprise, but
it's right over here. It's in the other window, and I can't turn the screen around to show you to put one on top of the other. But I think it's gonna be. It's a little bit weird because once we for the festivals, I mean, it'll be a festival set, but the headline tour, whenever we're able to finally do that, it's like when we get back out there, our catalog will be twice as big as the last time we played a show.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're not going to have enough time.
And I think we've had, we were already struggling with like, what do we want to play live? Because one time I went to see Paul McCartney, and he played for 3.5 hours, and he was in the Beatles, and I was like, this is way too long. Please stop. And I don't like long concerts. I don't want to
agree. Yes.
3-hour Joywave set. So I think, it'll be like an hour and 15 or an hour and a half or something, but just like a lot's going to get left out. And we have now, like, I think we have 10 top 40 alternative songs. So like, you're like kind of obligated to play the ones that did well, and then you bring in the other ones. But I don't know if we're even going to be able to do all those anymore.
Yeah, and kind of where do you stand in terms of like playing newer stuff like from Possession and from Cleanse versus older stuff from back in the day? Do you kind of want to do an amalgamation of both? And we talked about it a little a second ago with putting like hits in or so and kind of working those in together. But do you plan to make it kind of like a marriage of old and new, or do you want to do a lot of new material? Because I mean, you guys have been kind of chomping at the bit to play that stuff, I bet.
Yeah, I think that like, I think of writing, recording, and making a release, like that to me is art. Where I'm like, this is this thing, this is my vision, this is the statement, here it is. The live show is entertainment. Like, I hope that people have a great time. Like, our records aren't like overtly funny, but if you go to our show, like, we like to joke around and like we like to play tricks on the audience sometimes. Like, there was a time period where we had audio books as the house music for the whole night before we went
that
on.
That was my favorite.
There was
so
we had isolated vocal stems, so it was like
my
just
God.
the vocal of like System of a Down songs where people like, so it'd be like silence and then it'd be like, wake up, I can't. You know,
that's hilarious.
one about the man who's angry who he lost his keys. That song.
Oh yeah, the chop suey.
But yeah, so that I want people to have a great time, and one of the nice things about the streaming era is that we don't have to guess what people are listening to. I can tell you what people are listening to in the past 24 hours, which is pretty cool. So it'll be a mix of what we want to do and what people want from us, but I think that we're going to have the best time if people are having the best time, like the energy back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely. And even talking about things that you guys have been doing too, every question has an answer. A new like your series that you've been putting out on socials. Talk to me about like the idea behind that, how that kind of came together, and what made you guys just decide to run with that.
Well, we did this Instagram show a bunch of years ago now called Coffee with Joywave, and it was right when Instagram started having video on their platform, but it was limited to 15 seconds. So we were like, wouldn't it be funny to do an interview show inside of 15 seconds with a long intro? And we would have a guest, but we would always run out of time for the guest to say anything. And then over time, Instagram had like 60 seconds and 3 minutes. And we were like, this isn't fun anymore.
Right.
You know, the gag of the platform is gone, but people have always really enjoyed that. And also like the profile of the band has grown so much since then, where we were like, maybe we should do a new interview show, and it's like virtually based, and you know, we can get to all sorts of people now that we couldn't get to before. So yeah, it's called Every Question Has an Answer. It's an interview show. I'm the host. I mean, you never know who's going to pop up. I mean, we had Paul was our first guest.
Wow.
Like, how did you get him, right? But
who's his manager? How'd you get that done?
Yeah. We've got a couple more episodes of that coming. That's like a fun thing for us to do while we're home and while we have time.
That's awesome. And of course, wanted to mention to everybody that's watching in the chat as well that, of course, Joywave also has a Twitch channel, Joywave Music, which I've been loving. But, you know, I wanted to just say to you guys, thanks so much for coming out to the stream. I know you guys have your own Twitch channel, but thanks for coming over to our neck of the woods for a bit to chat music and to make a really, really interesting playlist for a word.
Hey, thank you so much for having us. We do have a Twitch channel. It's Paul playing Grand Theft Auto, but he runs an empire and sells a lot of drugs.
That's awesome.
It's definitely worth following
in
along
the game or outside of the game.
It depends on market conditions.
Gotcha.
They probably do one of those soon.
Twitch?
A stream, yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of those things.
I'm gonna go do a Twitch. Yeah.
Do a Twitch.
Do the Twitch. But guys, it was such a pleasure having you out, and good luck with all the shows coming up and the album release that's impending. Just wish you all the best, and I hope to have you back sometime soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.